I've got with me today Martin Warrilow, stroke survivor from Tamworth. Martin, can you just go through the events that led us to where we are today?
Well, we're at Tamworth Football Club, and I've been a fan of Tamworth Football Club since 1986. I originally started reporting on the club when I worked for the local paper, and after that I've followed the club for, well, nearly 30 years now. But in 2013 I suffered a stroke, and I had to miss 6 months of coming here because I was pretty much housebound and paralysed for a period of time. And I did really think that my time of being able to do anything with my life was coming to an end.
Well, it must have been very easy at that point to give up on life, particularly as I understand when you had your stroke you were nearly run over by a bus.
That's correct, yes. Work stress was really what caused the stroke. I was under enormous pressure with the work that I was doing as a freelance journalist at the time, and I just didn't realise how severe things were. And one day, completely out of the blue, I was crossing a road in Tamworth, and I just collapsed in the middle of the road, and I was completely paralysed down all of one side. And as I collapsed in the middle of the road, a 47-seater bus came by, and it missed me by a matter of inches. And I was lying in the middle of the road with a £2,000 Apple Mac computer in one hand, and my other hand wasn't working at all. So how the bus missed me is well, I think it's nearly a miracle.
You're now on the road to recovery, and you've chosen to share your experiences and educate people about stroke.
Yes, I think not enough people understand what causes stroke, how to avoid stroke, how to help someone who's having a stroke next to them, and how to help people to rehabilitate from stroke. And I've been lucky enough to survive the experience and to be able to do something with the rest of my life, and that's really now what I want to do, to help people so that they don't have to go through what I've had to go through if the very worst happens to them.
You talk about two specific areas of stroke. Perhaps you could take us through that.
Yes, it's really stroke education, so that helping people to understand what causes a stroke, what happens when you have a stroke, why you have a stroke, and how to rehabilitate yourself once you have a stroke, because it is so very easy to give up with life, particularly if you're paralysed or severely brain damaged, as I have been to a degree. And it's also stroke support, because the NHS doesn't do terribly much for people once they've had a stroke, and it's helping people to encourage themselves to get through life, to understand that there is life after you've had a stroke, that the shutters don't come down, you can do something, but you have to be persistent about it. I've spoken to stroke survivors who I know who have said that when you're doing stroke rehabilitation, there is no such word as can't. You have to believe that there is no such word as can't. You have to continue to do things to make something of your life, and that's what I'm trying to do.
So ideally, what sort of people are you looking to talk to?
I'm looking primarily to talk to the kind of person that I was, which is overstressed, overworked, self-employed people who just don't understand that the worst could happen to them, that don't understand that the life-changing event that could change their life and cause their income to collapse from whatever it is now to absolutely nothing in 2 seconds could happen to them. I'm looking to talk to those people to help them understand what could happen and to make them realise that they do have to change their life. Because when I talk to people at networking events, for instance, I find that an awful lot of people do listen to what I have to say. They all nod their heads sagely and say, yes, I understand, but they don't actually go out of the room and do anything about it. And I'm trying to get to talk to people to make them understand that they do have to do something about it.
And I suppose finally the question is, what gets you out of bed in the morning? What drives you on to do this when it must surely be easier just to sit at home?
I'm too young to sit at home and stare at the wall. I was 49 when I had my stroke. I'm 52 now. I would like to think I've got another few decades of life in front of me. I can't just stare at the walls. I've always been one of these people that has to be out doing things. I suppose it comes from my journalistic background, and I've always been one for trying to help people, for trying to get involved with people, for trying to make my mark and do things, and that's what gets me out of bed in the morning and makes me want to try and do this.
Thank you, Martin.